Hello everybody, and today I'm going to talk about one of the dumbest tech trends, Chromebooks. Now, what are Chromebooks, you may ask? Well, they are the ultra cheap laptops you can find at Walmart being marketed to people who don't know anything about computers. These are the kind of laptops for people who ask questions to Walmart employees like, can an XP be built up to run modern programs? So this right here is a Samsung Chromebook. And it's a very small laptop. As you can see, I've got a Mountain Dew can next to it. And it's a small laptop. But it's also cheaply made crap. I mean, sure, it's small and thin. And it's also made of plastic. As you can see, there's an SD card port and a headphone jack here, and there's some ports on the back, an HDMI port and two USB ports along with a power jack and a charge light. There's also a SIM card port that's dummied out because this laptop does not feature SIM cards because, you know, it is not a 3G enabled model. So as you can see right here, it's small. And it says Samsung, and it says Chrome on there. And the reason for that is, this laptop is designed to do one thing, and one thing only. Browse the internet. And do stuff you do in a web browser. You want to watch top 10 videos from BuzzFeed? This is what you use. You want to edit a document in the cloud? This is what you use. You want to sit on Facebook all day and retweet memes that were funny 3 years ago? This is what you use. This is what you use. If you have a computer and you're asking questions like, why isn't Foxfire working? This is what you use. So you open it up, and the first thing you see it says is OS verification is off. I'll explain why this is later, but if you turn off OS verification, you'll get this message every time you turn on. You'll have to Control D or wait every time you want to boot the laptop. Normally though, when you open it, you just see Chrome. And it doesn't take long to boot up at all because, like I said, this laptop does not do anything other than browse the internet. So right here's the keyboard, and as you can see, it does not have many keys at all. But it does have web browsing keys because this is supposed to be a dedicated web browsing machine. And that's pretty much what this is. It's basically a new version of those dumb terminals or those thin clients you'd see at like libraries, because that's what my local libraries had. For the longest time they had dumb terminals, then they upgraded to thin clients. And even when they had desktop computers at the library, they had terminal emulators on them. This is basically the 21st century version of those. You've got your YouTube here, you've got your Google Docs here, you've got your Gmail here, you've got your Google Chrome here, which is your web browser. And of course, you can get all these web apps by clicking here. It was a start menu on older versions, but then they changed it to a Google window because you have to be jacked into the internet to use this thing. And when you first set this up, it doesn't even let you set it up without having an internet connection. Welcome to the botnet, people. And by the way, did you know that while you're looking over this and you're like, ooh, ah, I love my internet stuff, while you're going over it like that, let me remind you that Google is a prison partner. Now, with the Chromebook, you don't get many programs. You just get web stuff. If what you want to use is not in the web, then tough. You have to deal with it. And you can't, like, let's just say, install programs on Chrome OS at all. However, you do get these crappy plastic hinges that are very flimsy. I mean, cheap plastic build quality all around. I mean, that's what these Chromebooks feel like. They've got that cheap plastic build quality. So these things feel like if you got frustrated that your Chromebook wasn't letting you do stuff a normal PC could do, if you hit it too hard, you'd snap the thing in half like a twig. That's what Chromebooks feel like build quality wise. And here's another fun fact about Chromebooks, okay? Getting Linux on here can be very iffy depending on your Chromebook. I mean, some Chromebooks are worse than others. Like this one, I managed to put Linux on it. However, it's not smooth sailing like you might expect from Linux on a regular laptop you can buy from Walmart. That's not a crippled, locked down Chromebook. So right here, I've got a micro SD card. See this? It's a micro SD card. And I've put Linux on here. And it took me mostly copying, pasting commands, but I put Linux on here and it works just fine. For the most part, because there are some issues with it. For example, one, it's ARM, so you can kiss goodbye to having Steam and that on your Chromebook. You're not going to be able to play Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, or Team Fortress 2 while that kid sitting across from you in remedial math class is able to play Team Fortress 2 on his cheap Acer laptop. Because even a cheap Acer laptop can run that game. You know, the kind of laptops that people don't know anything about computers buy? Yeah, those can run more games than this Chromebook can. And the same goes with the fact that when I put Linux on here, I'll show you in a second, but I was kind of restricted with some things too, like the kernel. So I've got the SD card in here, and one thing you'll note is that it sticks out. While on most other laptops, it does not stick out. And usually it's flush with the laptop itself, or just a little bit sticks out to the point where you can push it out. However, on this laptop it sticks out. Because after all, on Chromebooks, you're not supposed to use them as anything but as a way of putting your pictures into Google's cloud, and probably letting the NSA have access to them too. So, let's turn on this Chromebook. Now, you have to hit Control U at this screen once you finally run all these commands to put the OS onto the micro SD card. So Control U. Now it's booting. However, there's something I have to show you once it's booted, okay? So let's just wait a minute. And as you can see, it's not a speed demon at all. This is a dual-core 1.7 GHz ARM. It's not as fast as, say, even my old X201 that I got for 25 bucks. So let's Control F2. It's been a bit slow today. see, I told you these things aren't speed demons, okay? I'm gonna log in as, I'm gonna enter my password in. So now that I've logged in, as you can see, it works. I mean, I can do cat PROC. As you can see, it's ARM. It's not x86, so while some Chromebooks are x86, this one is not, and you can kiss bye-bye to running any Linux programs that are pre-compiled already and that don't need to be built. I mean, it's not as bad on ARM as it is on some other platforms, but because, you know, you can find binaries for like the Raspberry Pi and whatnot, but still. And here's another thing too that I might as well show you, okay? You can still do stuff like screen fetch once you install the right programs with Pac-Man. And of course, you'll notice under kernel, this is kernel 3.8. Not 4.4, not 4.6, not 4.7, not even 4.0, but 3.8. And you may be wondering why. Well, that's because on this Linux, this uses the Chromebook's kernel. It makes a copy of the Chrome OS kernel when you install it by entering the commands in, and that's what it boots. You can't build your own kernel, at least on Samsung Chromebooks. Some of them you can, but others you can't. And that's probably due to the hardware inside here. But at least it does work to some extent when I put Linux on here, making it infinitely more usable. I mean, now look at this. It's infinitely more usable. I actually have a OS that makes this Chromebook a real computer, essentially. And look, see, I can go install programs. I can install like LibreOffice. I can do office work offline. Wow, I mean, look at this. Now I can finally use this Samsung Chromebook as a real laptop. I mean, sure, it's not that fast. It's no speed demon. But if you're stuck with a Chromebook, at least you can put Linux on there and make it somewhat usable. If you don't have enough money to just run out on eBay and purchase a real cheap, whatchamacallit, laptop on eBay, yeah. But as you can see, it does work on Linux, and I had to jump through some hoops, but that still doesn't change the build quality of this thing. All in all, don't waste your money on Chromebooks. They're not worth it at all. Unless you are given one. Then you can put Linux on it and it's still marginally more useful than a Windows RT device. But unless you want to go on Facebook all day and look at ads all day saying to vote for Hillary Clinton, or if you want to browse old memes, or unless you want to put all your pictures in the cloud so other people can view them, like the NSA, I wouldn't get a Chromebook. Just get a real laptop instead. I mean, if I were locked in a room and I had to pick between a MacBook and a Chromebook, it'd be a close call, but I'd pick the MacBook. Because the MacBook I'd rather use than this piece of trash. It is such a pathetic excuse for a laptop. And if I didn't put Linux on it, this thing would be even more useless. It would be about as useful as a Windows RT laptop. Now it's slightly more useful. I mean, sure, it's not too fast, but at least it does more than just sit around and only let me browse the web. And then eventually, after a few years, they drop support for your old Chromebook, so you have to run out and buy a new one, and your old one goes to the great big recycling pile in the sky. All in all, don't waste your money on a Chromebook. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.